We're glad to be back. Thank you, everybody, for staying with us, Luella. It was a pleasure to have had a chance to talk with her and to have interviewed her, to hear her story. I hope everybody, it looks like with all of your comments and everything, that you were inspired as well. What we're going to be talking about here in this next hour is the TrueCut. We're going to talk a little bit about that story and how Grace Company, a company that started with hand quilting frames 35 years ago, we move into domestic frames and systems that allowed you to take your own domestic machine and convert those into quilting systems, hand quilting hoops, etc. And how we got into this interesting place where we are doing different type of cutting tools. And one of the challenges, I'll just kind of start with this as a preface. One of the things that was exciting and is exciting about our business is our owner came to us and he said, hey, I think we ought to look at finding some solutions to part of the cutting problem that exists out there. And with that being the case, we decided to get into it. And one of the big challenges we decided to take upon ourselves is not just find a solution by, hey, we're going to do what everybody else is doing, but we had to go look at each one of you and what you're doing and how you're cutting and why you're cutting. And then we had to define what's the biggest frustrations, what are some of the most difficult things that you're engaging with, and why, if that's the case, what is it that we can do in order to help solve part of those problems. And so really what we want to do is, please stay with us. This isn't just a piece to let you know about, hey, there's another rotary cutter, or hey, there's rulers, but really you're going to find that there's some amazing solutions that we have been able to create that reduce the stress in the body, that make cutting easier, safer, more accurate. And those are three key terms that we have, and that's why it's underneath the logo for TrueCut, is easy, safe, and accurate. And we are excited to have Mark and Carla here to share a little bit more about part of that process on making the cutting easier, safer, and more accurate. Mark, maybe you and Carla can kind of just share a little bit again about the cutting systems that we're going to be talking about here.
Yeah, we have rulers, cutters, sharpeners, mats.
And you'll love them. If you haven't tried them, it's worth it, because it will help you keep everything straight and more accurate, so you're not wasting fabric. You're saving these, and you're going to get the cuts. And our rulers and our cutters are just awesome. They're ergonomic. They're going to keep it so that you can continue cutting and doing what you love as a quilter for many years, because it's ergonomic.
Carla and Mark, really quick, I thought I would come back. You had shared your trunk tool with us this morning. Again, thank you. That was so much fun. I thought as we were doing part of the changeover here, again, I just had not ever heard that much of your story and had seen kind of all the things you had. So again, sorry, I'm a little distracted still with that. It was pretty fun to be a part of. But you had mentioned one of the questions that came up is, do you use like an automatic cutting system or any kind of a press? And you mentioned like, no, you cut all your fabric strips but with your own hand, correct?
Just with the TrueCut system, because there are times when you're not as worried about your strip being as accurate, because it's just a strip and you can make up for that little lack if it's not so nice and straight. However, there are quilts that are going to need that accuracy, and I just like being able to cut it out, and it's just one more element that I can add to enhance my quilt by making it my own. So I just use the TrueCut system exclusively. I love the cutters. I use the straight cutters. I didn't think I'd like a straight cutter, but I like after using the comfort cutter, but I love the straight cutter because it's very comfortable. So yeah, we just have a whole wide variety of things, items that I'm really excited to show you, and how they work and how easily it is to use them and how they'll help you with your quilting.
Great. With that, maybe I can just bring this up with everybody who's streaming with us right now. One, thanks for being with us. Maybe I thought I could do a quick shout out as a bit of gratitude. I know there's a lot going on here in the US today, so there's a lot of reasons to not be streaming with us. So thank you for being with us. Quilting is one way to keep our minds on the good things that are in front of us. So we had a lot of people talking about that as a passion. Carla, I love them saying, it's not that quilting or the fabric or how much we have, it sometimes one of those things that helps keep us sane. So again, thank you for being with us today. Again, I just maybe want to do a quick shout out. Thanks for everybody behind the scenes that's been helping out with this. Thank you customers for participating in streaming. Thanks for everybody who's helped make this really possible to bring this to the world for that matter. with that, I would like to kind of go in and make sure that everybody streaming knows this is interactive. So if you have a question as we're moving through part of the process, make sure to put a comment in there, and we'll see if we can get to those questions. Now, again, I know we can't get to all of them, and we would tell you that we have active chat on our website. If you go to graceframe.com, let me kind of pop that back up here really quick so you can see part of this with us. On the website, let me put this back there so everybody can kind of see what we've got going here. But if you go to the main Grace Frame website, you'll be able to see all the different information that we're going to be talking about. You're going to find more information here about the TrueCut. You can call our 800 number. So we would encourage you that if there are other questions, and then I'm going to encourage you, as part of what we have is the Fantastic Fall Festival, that there are specials, and I would encourage you to scroll down to the bottom, because there are a few extra things that we do have on sale, and then there is a TrueCut promotion going on as well. So we'd encourage you to view and see not only what we're doing from the quilting perspective from the main tools, but also what we're doing from the TrueCut standpoint. So again, thanks for participating. With that, Mark and Carla, let's go ahead and maybe start off at the very top and share with us a little bit, if you were to take one of the items that stood out to you most, and let's talk about maybe that TrueCut, the cutter and the ruler, and why that system is just unique and how that really solves some of the biggest challenges that customers have with quilting in general.
Let's do it. You know, Carla and I both want to look at the comfort cutter. When we go to shows, we hear all the time, either they love their cutter, they are not going to switch their cutter, they are going to stay where they're at, they're comfortable, they've been using it for years, and so there's no other cutter that they're going to try. And when we demonstrate this, Carla, they essentially just look at it and then they end up walking away with it. So the comfort cutter is what we're going to start out with. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the design in the comfort cutter. And the name comfort in the name is what it truly is. It is the comfort cutter because it truly provides that in your wrist. And so we're going to look at using these in, I want to say, like 3 different ways. And there's really not a wrong way, but we all have our preference. And so we're going to go over that with our comfort cutter. But first I'm going to show you, Carla, and the viewers. So here's our straight cutter that most everybody already uses. So it is one that we still make because it's nice, traditional, and it's good to go from left to right. Very, very simple. But one thing I'm going to point out is what we did with the blade. And so we can look at that. We kept the handle like it is straight, but then we moved the blade down. So we did that for few reasons, but one, that's where the comfort comes, and that's where the ergonomic comes as we cut. So as we look at this, Carla, what are some of your thoughts as people use a cutter? What does it look? People think it looks strange, looks weird. How comfortable is it to get used to the cutter?
It's not hard to get used to it at all. In fact, I think it feels really good in the hand. We haven't made the bottom of the handle be so thick and so wide that it just, your hand is able to close around it, so you're able to get a nice grip. Even if you have arthritis or hand problems and making the fist and not, so just make sure that, yeah, it's small enough but large enough for you to get a nice, comfortable grip on your handle. Now, the handles, the head of it's bent down and it provides you with the opportunity of being up over the cutter rather than leaning back like you do with the straight cutters. See, I'm working my shoulder like I am with that. And then with the comfort cutter, all I have to do is put my hand right here and just cut. And it's just that easy and that smooth. Now, I don't have the guide on this one, so you can see how nice and straight I was able to keep my ruler and it didn't slide or shift on me. That's because I have the little grips. But it kept it nice and straight. And I was able to pull apart. And that's the beginning of my 6-inch square. So we can change it to have the guide.
We can. But first, let's look at some of the ways people could hold the cutter.
Okay.
Okay. Because like I said, there's 3 different ways people like to hold it. So when we look at holding the straight cutter, and this is, I like to do this, Carla, because it will show that those who use the straight cutter, the way they hold it, they can still hold it with the comfort cutter. So it doesn't you're not really missing out on the straight cutter.
It's not that much of a
It's not that
change.
much of a change, right? So with the straight cutter, as people cut, we go ahead and some will just do this. Some will put their finger out.
I like my finger out.
Yep. And
Like
then
this.
the thumb. So these three can still be done with the comfort cutter. So let's go ahead and look at with the thumb out. And as you notice, when I use it with the straight cutter, when I go to the thumb down, you have to get the blade down. And so that's what we talk about with the wrist, right? And I would think, because you've been using your cutter for so long, you probably don't really realize your wrist because you just pick it up and you go to cut. And so that's just instinct for your wrist.
It is. It's instinct.
Yeah. So you don't even know, or you may not, but until you get carpal tunnel, arthritis, that's when it starts creeping up. You're like, oh, I was holding this.
Right. So you start feeling it right in here and in your elbow.
So now let's look at using, and then this is Carla's way of holding it.
I love holding it this way.
With the thumb. So as we look, that is what Carla likes to do is a thumb. So it's the same as holding it with the straight cutter. And I know this is more of informational. So I like doing this, and I think we all, when we go to shows, it's good to show the transition. So that's kind of why we're talking about the different ways of holding. So the thumb on the top, right? And so as we look at a couple of things, let's go. I would love to answer some questions right now. One popped up on the screen. Is the cutter for left and right hand?
Yes. For both.
It comes out of the package right-handed, the comfort cutter does, and you can just switch the plastics and make it from right to left. And so it's very simple. And we'll look at doing that maybe later in the show, but yeah, right or left hand. Okay, so as we go to cut, we got this way. And then James, I really need to see the variety or the safety features. I have seriously cut my finger with my current cutter. That, James, is probably what most cutters do, or most quilters do when they go to cut. They nick their fingers, right?
Because our hand's too close to the ruler, and you're not watching it.
So James, probably with you and most quilters, Carla, the reason why they either nick themselves is because, like you had mentioned earlier, as we go to cut the fabric, we are making sure that that blade stays against the ruler's edge the entire time. And by doing so, we put so much pressure that potentially we can come up and we can jump track.
Right.
We can damage the ruler, but jumping the ruler is mostly where the cutters cut their.
Or you're just leaving the guide and you're not watching it and you go to grab it. But this has a nice little safety guide that you can take on and off.
Yep, very simple. Okay, so let's dive in to the other way.
Okay.
Okay, we got this way.
This is Mark's way.
Yep, and then this is my way, and I want to say I really enjoy doing this. Now, the only time I really do the cutting is when we go to shows, and I really like the control that I get. Now, what this does is with the finger over the top, it keeps my wrist straight, and it also allows me to use the palm of my hand as I go to cut, because that's where the pressure is. You notice the blade is facing down. So as I do it this way, for me, that pressure, you can see where it is, and I come in and hold it. My fingers now are really supporting the cutter and not really squeezing it where we get white knuckles underneath, where we get all the white knuckles, because we got to really hold the cutter. And that's really the reason why I firmly believe, and I'm not saying that, this is truly the most ergonomic cutter out there, right? Because it does so many things, but one in particular, I don't need to squeeze the cutter. And in fact, the pressure from the palm of my hand is what keeps the blade down and the cutter straight up. So now as we go to cut, like I said, it keeps it straight. We're not bending the wrist to get the blade down, and we're not using the white knuckles in order to get that pressure. And that is a common thing, especially when we have seen people hold our cutter. They automatically pick the cutter up, put the finger up top.
Oh, yeah, and they're pushing so hard. Because that's what they're used to.
Yes. And by doing that, you're going to be, we talk about the mat, we talk about a lot
you're
of
going to feel it in your shoulders, you're going to feel it in your neck, you're going to feel it in your wrists. If you're pushing down that hard, it's time for a new cutter.
Right. So this way, so as we go to cut, it is simple as we roll across the top of the fabric. And again, you can notice that my wrist is staying straight. Now, with my finger down, it has enough plastic around the cutter that it is very safe. Again, TrueCut, we have it on all of our package. Easy, safe, and accurate. So what we're doing, we're not saying this to make sure we're unsafe, but you see the plastic that comes down over the top. So it allows even for big hands like myself to bring the finger down and keep the blade and everything away from my fingers.
Right.
Okay. All right. What's the last way people like to hold it?
Oh, okay. My sister Sally, she likes to hold it this way. I don't understand why it seems very uncomfortable, but anyway, that's how she liked to hold it. That was her personal preference. But it kept her hands out away, and that was just how she likes it. So to each his own. It works. Just I don't think it's as comfortable as with my thumb here or the finger here.
Okay. So I'm curious, Nathan, is there any questions regarding the comfort cutter and so far the positions that we had mentioned how to hold the cutter? All right. So Carol, yes, afraid of cutting fingers, or worse from that, I hear others do it, right? And that right there, okay. So Carol, with that, that is kind of one of the reasons why we don't let the younger generation, or maybe our granddaughters or grandsons who are younger, cut, because we all know how dangerous the blades are. And as we go to cut, we're like, okay, young one, we want to make sure you keep your 10 digits, right? And so with this system, as we dive in further, you're going to see how easy and safe and accurate, even for the younger generation, to start their cutting.
They need to start somewhere, and they might as well start with something that is easy for them to use and very safe for you as a parent or a grandparent, so that you will know that you can teach them the safety of using the cutter, and it's going to keep their little fingers away.
Yes. Cynthia, can you use any replacement blade? So our blades and most blades have that notch out in the center, and those types of blades will work over the shaft of the where the blade is. So on the ones with the notches.
Shout out to our blades. Our blades are awesome. If you haven't tried them, give them a try.
That's right. 2 thumbs up on that. Yeah. Okay, so we're looking at the holding of the cutter.
Right.
Now, Carla already made a cut through how many layers of fabric?
Oh, God, let's see. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 layers here, okay?
Now, I will say, Carla, cutting through those 4 layers are easier because of the blade placement. When we cut through 4 layers without the ergonomic of the shaped handle, we know that we have to really push down.
Yes.
And then the shoulder, our elbow,
and even your finger and your joints, it's going to cause you some problems because you're using the repetition. Any quilter knows this. We use the repetition of quilting or moving, cutting all the time in our wrists and hands. So any way we can save it to continue doing what we love is really important.
That's right. Nathan, before we get to you, I just want to make a comment on that. You know, over the years, I've been hearing the comment always that it is hard on the wrists. Right. And we love to cut. You mentioned that. I mean, I saw some viewers too mention that cutting has been what they enjoy doing. Right. Now, some of those those who like to cut, they are going to really feel that. And I think a lot of them, they might stop cutting and now no more projects are being done because of the tools they have. And so these tools help them overcome that, and they can continue to cut for a long period of time. Let's bring Nathan in, have a couple comments.
Yeah, I thought it would just kind of help bring up here on screen as we're talking. Mark, to your point, I've heard personal stories to support that where customers have literally told me that they were not able to continue quilting because of the pain in their wrist or the pain in their hand or the pain in their fingers. And because of the shape and of the cutter and the simplicity it allowed them to hold, they were able to go back to what they loved most. And so that's an honest story. We hear stories like that all the time. You know, it's just great to know that there's a product that can help people that reduces the stress in the wrist. I pull up this picture because this is again what you've shown the camera here a few different times. But I thought that was incredibly important piece that just shows you how it really aligns the arm, aligns the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist in a way that just again allows there to be significantly less pressure. And then Carla, to your point with cutting all those layers, it actually transfers more of the power and more of the energy down towards that blade. So then you don't know, and people would say, well, it seems like I don't have to push as hard. And that would be a true statement, because again, that's coming from the palm of the hand versus the finger, the extended finger or the wrist or the arm. So I just wanted to bring that up as part of this. And again, I just wanted to do a shout out to have anybody that you have questions. We're looking through some of those other questions as we come through. Mark, one of the other things that's coming up is I'll maybe put this in front of us all, and you can kind of talk with how this cutter then moves into what's next, is the thicker lip on the edge of the ruler. And maybe you can share a little bit more regarding that with our customers as well.
Yeah, Denise, right there, like the thicker lip on the ruler. So what Denise is talking about is our track.
Yeah. This helps make it safer.
Yes, and that is one of many features that really separates TrueCut from all of the other cutting systems out there, are the simple features we talked about earlier and the benefits. And so one of the features of the cutting system is that. So let's go ahead and look into that, what Denise was saying. And as we can look at, Carla, talk about the track and what that does. Does it take away the view? Does it make the ruler different?
No, actually, I love these rulers. And actually, I use them for quilting as well, for machine quilting, because I love the edge and I love how the cutter glides along the edge. It just is so smooth and so nice. And it also makes it more accurate for you as you're cutting. So right now, I didn't use the guide that comes with the cutter, but you could tell that it was my cut was nice and straight, and it was just very accurate, pushing it along the edge of the ruler. Mm-hmm. And I don't have to push really hard.
No, you don't. It's very simple. So let's show them, Carla. We're going to now transform our cutter. Now, without the guide, we're about to put the guide on. In the package, you get this extra piece. And what this is, we can get a close-up at this. There we go. It's black, so I'm trying to hold it at an angle. Not too good. It is black, so it's hard to see. Maybe we can come in closer. Maybe put it in my hand here. So this piece right here, this is the guide. This is what interlocks with the ruler lip or the ruler track to keep you cutting straight. So what we're going to do, this comes with the package. We did it this way so you can use the cutter outside the package with your normal ruler. And then if you decide to get the TrueCut rulers that have the track that you see on the screen, we're going to go ahead and put that on. So it's very simple. So let's give it a second here.
That's a quick release. So you just bring the button, and then you just transfer this to make it from right to left to the other side. So that's all you do. Now,
okay, do we have it on there?
I'll take my blade off.
Let's look at that.
Okay.
Nope, they're showing you right there, Carla. You keep going.
I'm just gonna. Now you have to be really careful. No, you don't want to cut yourself. So
we are professionals, Carla.
Yeah.
So.
I've done it enough, and then you just put it back on. And so now, you can see right there. That's where that track's gonna go in between.
Let's point out over the Kemper one right there real fast.
Right there.
See.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Is that a good shot that you can see? All right.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go put that over the ruler's edge, Carla, to show the customers how it works with the rulers. Not only right there, Carla has it on.
Can you see that? So that's how it works. See, my blade is down there cutting my fabric. And now I can't veer off or turn. It's just going to keep me nice and straight. There we go.
That's perfect. So, Carla, I want to comment as we look at this guide and ruler. Now, like I said, I've never pieced a quilt. But I've done many, many, many hours of cutting as we travel to shows.
Yes, you have.
And I know the stories, right? The ruler sliding, to going up and over, nicking the fingers, and other potential issues that could happen. What I love about what you just did there was the blade. When we want to cut against, or when we want to make sure the blade is against the ruler, we need to push. we're going to go over a couple of things. One, if we push against it, our rulers want to push as well away. So from start to finish, we need to hold down the ruler. Sometimes we want to walk up the ruler as we cut.
Right.
We got to make sure that that doesn't happen, because we need to make sure that blade doesn't go off to no man's land.
Right.
So when I saw you do that, I noticed the blade, as I put it on the ruler, the blade is already against my ruler's edge, right? So as I roll up the ruler, right now, my blade is against the ruler's edge, and you notice that the ruler isn't sliding because I'm not pushing up against it. And that is huge, because
Right.
that, again, we talked about going over the top.
Yeah, you're not going to get a piece where it's smaller right down here at the bottom and wider at the top, because
Yes.
every quilter knows that there's nothing more frustrating than to have to go and take that piece and recut it.
And yeah, Peggy, so does a comfort cutter have a quick change blade? It does. So I'm going to go ahead and show that in my palm of my hand. So we get my palm. Okay. So on the back of this cutter, there is this bit right here, and we're going to simply just press that, and the blade just comes right out. Okay. And this is actually the newest feature of the comfort cutter. We designed into having it. Our prior comfort cutters never had this.
Right.
So this is a newer feature.
You had to unscrew them, and it is a great feature. You'll love it.
And it was simple to put back in. Right, let's do that again real fast. Let's get up close. So I pop it out. Now I'm going to go ahead and just pop it right back in, and we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, Denise, it is a nice, neat feature, because again, we're dealing with blades. So going back to the cutting with the ruler, as you can see Carla cutting. So she's cutting through multiple layers using the guide. And as we go to cut, again, it keeps it straight. There's Carla twisting it. She is cutting her square. She is actually preparing for her next quilt that's going to be gray.
You know,
So
I'm just a quilter who just really likes the accuracy of it. And I just want to show you how easy it is to line it up. Now, I probably wouldn't go through all of these layers, because with the guide, because you can 2, 3 at the most. I probably wouldn't do 4 or 5 or 6. Without the guide, yes, it makes it easier. So just know that. Oh, you have to take your guard off. That's what makes it safe.
So I think I heard Nathan, and I could be wrong. He mentioned, and maybe, are we going to do a giveaway? Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Great.
Giveaway time.
All I'm going to say is
It has been a little too long. I know we've been through this environment.
haven't done anything.
Oh, no.
With people that are streaming, yeah, it's giveaway time, and I actually am going to apologize. We kind of jumped the gun just a tiny bit as we
Moved into part of the section, so we could have done a couple giveaways previously, but I thought since we're dealing with the TrueCut items, and we're seeing this amazing 45mm
ergonomic cutter and the ruler and the track system. Again, that is the unique patented function of the TrueCut that really does solve, again, a lot of those challenges. Mark, I like how you were putting and talk about how people put so much pressure across their rulers and all that pressure down. And then, we've heard, and if you haven't been watching out the comments, there's been a lot of people who injured or cut themselves. It becomes dangerous after a while. And I know there's a lot of other products that continue to make it easier, safer, and more accurate. But let's do a giveaway. Maybe, I'm not sure if we have a camera shot we can get that would have part of the wheel in here, so we can look at spinning it. I'm going to go ahead, and if everybody is okay, I'm just going to clarify kind of how this has been working over the last couple of streaming periods of time. Is these are some live giveaways. We're looking at doing this from people who are making the comments from Facebook and YouTube. We are looking at selecting an individual from each platform, depending on if we say, hey, we're looking from the first person or a second person with answers. I think we're going to spin that up a little bit differently potentially today as well. But if you're with us, we're going to look for some comments, and we had put together a couple questions. And again, I apologize because we kind of jumped into part of this TrueCut, and really coming up in the next hour, we're going to talk more about the prizes that we're doing and some of the demonstrations on what we have for next week and this week. So we'll get into that in a minute. But I thought, Mark and Carla, if we can, let's do a question throw this out to the audience. And I think maybe this time what I'm going to say is we'll just do it random, not necessarily the first person, but we will choose somebody from both the YouTube platform and the Facebook that we'll have. And the question, what would be the first question that you think you would like to have answered by our group out there?
What is the name of Carla's mom?
Oh, that is a good one. I love that one, actually. I'm waiting here patiently.
Oh, nobody knows that?
We're waiting patient. Oh, they're coming up now.
I'm going to put this out there here as I was getting.
Okay.
So we're going to see. We got all sorts of comments. We just had 37 come in, and there are a ton. Yes, and the name is what, Carla?
Of the Grace Company.
Yeah.
So again, we're going to do this just randomly. Again, there was no first or last. We're going to just select here, and I'm going to go ahead and we'll pull this one. Connie Judd. Way to go. Congratulations. And so what we're going to do with Connie is we're going to spin the wheel, and I'm excited. Mark, do you have that wheel over there by you? Maybe you can just talk briefly about some of the options that are on there so they can kind of know what they might have a chance to win.
Yeah, so we have rulers, true grips, comfort cutters, sharpeners, thread, and I think, and we have like combos, a quilter's combo. So yeah, a good variety, Nathan. Are we ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
I'm going to say party on the spin.
Yeah.
Party on the spin.
Connie, jump in.
Spinner,
And then
spinner.
How to contact us here.
All right, here we go. That was a good one.
Yeah, it was
I
a
like
good
that
one.
one. I think that was my best one yet. Wow.
He slept well last
Wow,
night.
that was, I ate my Wheaties.
Yep.
Okay, we have the circle cutter.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm going to show it to you right here because we have it and
Yeah.
we're going to demonstrate it. So this is the circle cutter, and it is one of those tools that we keep talking about in the TrueCut line that really gives you a different, how do I say this, is the feature set of this and the benefits of cutting circles. We see the one that's behind Nathan, and you use this circle cutter to make all those quilts. And so this is the prize that you won, Connie. It does 2 to 12 inches, very easy to use. The blade is underneath this blue knob, which uses a rotary blade, 18 millimeter, and then you have the pin here. This wide base keeps the fabric from wanting to move underneath. So as we go over the top of the fabric, it keeps it nice and flat. So a phenomenal tool. Connie, congratulations.
Yeah, you'll love it.
All right. All right. Nathan, you can't get off camera that fast. Let's bring you back in. There you are.
Let me come back and just quickly take a note. Connie, as a winner, what we're going to ask that you do is go ahead and email sales, S-A-L-E-S, at graceframe.com. So email sales at graceframe.com. What we're doing is we're looking at the people with the comments. I neglected the full rule piece of this. These are for the contiguous 48 states, the lower 48 states. That makes it easy in order to get us there to you here quickly. And again, thanks for those that are streaming internationally. We do know that there are several people we saw here earlier today as well from Germany. I know Europe, UK. Periodically, I think last time as we got later in the day, we also had people joining us from Australia. So again, thank you international viewers as well. But what we're going to ask is the winners email sales, S-A-L-E-S, at graceframe.com in order for us to help redeem those. So Connie was the winner of the TrueCut 360. That is one. If you look behind me here, I have this quilt that Carla did, and Carla's like, "Oh, I was going to show that one." I'm like, "Here, I'll point it out." All to say, look at how pretty those circles are, and all of her quilting and everything.
The circles are.
Again, and thanks again because of the TrueCut, the 360. So it does help solve it. We're going to spend a little more time on that here in a minute. But let's go ahead. I have that was a Facebook winner. I'm going to go ahead and pull up what we have from the YouTube, and we'll do a spin here too. We have Alicia Casario is what I want to say. Congratulations again. So Mark, let's go ahead and spin the wheel for Alicia and see what Alicia is the lucky proud winner of as well.
Okay, here we Another great spin. I'm on a roll.
He's on it today. Woo. You must be working out, Mark.
Oh. Looking like
Awesome.
my
Yeah.
comfort cutter. So
Yeah, congratulations.
yeah, so she a proud winner of the 45 comfort cutter. And you've been watching, so you already know all about it. It's a fantastic win on that one. So the last thing we really didn't show on that, Nathan, is Alicia, you can actually personalize it. So in this comfort cutter, I'm going to show you right here. Let's zoom in. You can take this top off and you can put your name or your picture or something in your handle. So that is really the reason why that is that's a great prize. So
Now, Mark, I don't know if that's quite enough, because one of the most impressive things that you've shown us so far is the ruler. What if we just give her our quilters combo? Talk about that, and let's up the ante from just the My Comfort Cutter to our quilters combo, and tell her what that quilters combo comes with. I think that's a lot better of an experience that she's going to have with that ruler and the track and the non-slip pads. So let's go ahead and do the quilters combo for her, but maybe share a little bit about that.
Okay, so the quilters involves the ruler I'm holding, the True Grips that Carla put in front, and the comfort cutter. We haven't really got to the True Grips, so we'll talk about that. But just a quick thing about the True Grips, that is our #1 item that we sell. They go on the back of the ruler. It keeps the ruler from sliding. So this is truly a great quilters combo package that has the comfort cutter, the 6.5 by 24.5 ruler, that is the most popular one, and the True Grip. So great upgrade on that prize.
It makes it a complete system. So you're not, you're going to have that easy and that safe and that accurate.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that's great. All right.
So with that,
can we do one more? Let's. That was kind of getting started tonight, and I know we'll again do more of this
next hour, but let's do one other question that we can go ahead and put out there for everybody. Carla, what would be the next question?
Okay. In our last segment, it was the sweetest lady in the whole world, Luella Hall. She made certain quilts and gave them away. If anybody can tell us which quilts that she did and how she gave them away, does that even make sense? She did a certain type of charity quilt. For what charity did Luella give the quilts to?
Let's
put that one. And by the way, I just want to tell a little bit about Luella. She grew up in Star Valley, Wyoming. And she, as a little girl, knew my mom and my dad up there. And she would go to their house as a little girl. So it was really fun when she walked in to buy a quilting system that we're kind of just drawn to each other. And that's part of the reason why, is because we feel like we have this bond through quilting because she was raised in Wyoming. So just a little bit about Luella.
There are a lot of people who have been able to participate in mentioning, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this one again. We're just going to randomly pull one here from, again, the Facebook group. So we're going to go ahead and congratulate Cinda Gellengerten. I apologize for that, Cinda, but you're right. Refugees is what we're doing. So let's go ahead and let's do a spin mark for her as well and see what she's going to be winning.
Okay, it stopped on the square ruler, Nathan. So square ruler, I'm going to hop on down here and grab the square ruler. Okay. So Nathan, that winner received a 12.5 by 12.5 square ruler. It has all the same features as what we're talking about. The sides have that track. It has built-in holes for marking and for holding the ruler. But
and
Nathan,
for reading the ruler too. So the ruler makes it actually easier for you to read.
Yes. So Nathan, I think we owe Cinda something else because of her last name and what you did. Last name there, we might want to like. What do you think?
Absolutely. Let's not
Let's make this a single win. Mark, what else do you think? What other square rulers do we got?
put in there with part of that package.
Well, all the square rulers. The square rulers, Nathan, the 9.5 and the 6.5. Let's give the whole square
package.
Family out to Cinda.
Great. Do you have those there so you can pull them out? I'm not sure if we have access. Have you get back up and grab those also so she can see what she's winning. Again, congratulations on that one. Wonderful. Great. Let's do one more. That was what we had from the Facebook side. We're going to go ahead and pull a winner from YouTube. And this is the winner that we're going to have is Jay Allen. And again, what we've got is the refugees on this one. Jay, let's see what Jay Allen's winning. Mark, let's go ahead and spin the wheel for Jay.
Spinner, spinner, chicken dinner.
Well, I was going to say,
Off the spin, Nathan. Okay, let's stop
the
on
square rulers again.
the square ruler. So
let's do a square ruler, but let's do a spin and see if there's something else that we can combo with the square ruler. We'll just do the 12.5 by 12.5 on that one.
Ooh. The finesse thread.
the finesse thread. So the finesse thread, we have a 4-pack of solid. So the solid thread on this one, Carla. I saw your quilt, by the way, that you were showing that had the finesse symbol on there, right?
Yeah.
That is
that big old thing.
Yeah, that is fantastic. So this finesse thread, a little bit of about finesse thread. It is 50 weight, 100% polyester, and it's 1,500 yards. I'm going to show one of the cones. These cones, we designed this for a particular reason. It allows you to have. You can do a large quilt with it, and you can do multiple small quilts. But now you're not really committed to a large spool of thread. You have this nice size, 1,500 yards, 50 weight, 100% polyester, and that is the win on that one. And they are the most popular solid colors that we have.
Right.
So
you'll love them.
yes. Okay.
That is pretty exciting, Mark. And I guess I'll just come back and share. You know, one of the stories was that this is something that I really wanted to bring into Grace Company, not because we're like, yeah, let's do thread. One of the biggest things we had found is moving into the mid-arm and the long arm market. We found that customers moving from the domestic, as they started doing larger projects, the smaller spools weren't quite enough. And then what we found is they were trying to find bigger spools. You go to 6,000 yards, and I needed orange because I had this special Halloween quilt I was doing last week. And then you end up sitting on the amount of yardage you'll have for the rest of your life. And so what we found is that there was this interesting transition of the person who's moving into quilting, and they have a hard time finding it. And so we came out where there's 20 solids and there's 40 of the variegated colors. So there's a 40 mixed thread color selection. So there's a lot of those out there. And we felt that that was a great way to give you as the quilter a lot more options, and we call them like project size. So when you have that 1,500 yards, again, the low lint, it's kind of a really soft cottony fill, which is one of the things we also felt was important, because kind of moving into this, one of the things, you know, kind of is more of a traditional piece is, hey, we ought to use cotton. You know, polyester is a little bit more forgiving, lower lint, a little stronger, holds its color again. So it's a color fast type of a system. So we're really excited. So congratulations again on the win on that one, Jay Allen. So you're going to be picking up that square ruler and the 4-pack of finesse threads. What I will just remind you is, if you haven't already, for those winners that we've just drawn, make sure to email sales, SALES, at graceframe.com. Again, that's sales, SALES, at graceframe.com, so we can collect your information and get these things sent off to you. So I thought we'd just do that little bit of an interruption. So maybe, Mark, sorry, let's go back, and maybe if you can pick up and move back in. We talked a little bit about the rulers. I don't know if we finished kind of the assortment of rulers that we have between the rectangle, the square, and the triangle. And then maybe we can move into some of the other tools as well that you guys have found and enjoyed so much.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so as we get back to this, Carla, we have the rulers. And so let's stay with the rulers here as we talk about them. We have several of the rulers, and we have the most popular one. So it is the 6.5 by 24.5. We'll start from there all the way down to 6.5 square. Plus we added some triangle rulers.
Right.
Right. We have a equilateral, a right, and a kite. On top of that, we have all of our rectangles and we have our squares. Carla, with the rulers, much like our cutters, they can present some issues if you have a ruler. Like one of them is maybe cracking, right? Or the corners cracking as they fall off the table.
Or kids going down. I've had this happen where my kids are just kind of trying to see how strong it is, or they're just playing around and they've broken some of my favorite rulers.
Yes.
Well,
so look at that. Like it is now. This isn't one of the
this
key
isn't
benefits,
a challenge,
yeah.
though.
Okay, because I want to see if I can break it.
Yeah.
So, and then you see, so we're talking about a couple things. One, I talked about the rulers breaking or chipping, okay, because that falls off. All of our rulers, and I like to always bang, but it could get really loud. But our rulers we made differently.
Right.
Right. We pretty much injected the rulers, and what that does is really give it the strength and the durability. Even with all the holes in our rulers, they are very durable. As you can see, like even flexing it. Now, again, that's not a really selling feature,
right?
But to your point, they're not going to break if they fall off the table. They're not going to chip on the corners,
right?
And the holes are there for holding through your fabric or for marking. What other? Can you think of any applications that the ruler can do? Easy to read.
Well, it's easy to read. The holes make the colors of the fabric pop through, so you can line it up from top to bottom. So you're not going to get that smaller at this end and wider at the top. You're going to be able to line it up with your 1/8 markings, which are a little bit more difficult for us to align on the ruler. So that's why the holes are there. It makes it easier for you to adjust and read your ruler so you get that nice, accurate cut.
Perfect. So all of our rulers, they come with the holes, they come with the track, they are plastic injected, so they're not an overlay. So it is perfectly, and we have several rulers. So all of the rulers that we have to offer come with those features. Let's go ahead, Carla. I love the live videos because we can interact with our viewers. And so let's get some questions coming in.
Mark, I thought I would put this one out there and then ask maybe with part of our camera crew and Carla, as you guys look at this, one question, and I'm just saying, again, thanks for these questions as they're coming through. One thing that's being asked here, let me put this up on screen, is, and this is from a Roxana Lewis, and she's wondering a little bit more, and I know that we have some black plastics, but I thought maybe you can disengage and engage the blade cover and show them that, and then do one last piece of, once it's open, show how it maybe engages over the track and then off of the track. The question is, I have a question about the My Comfort Cutter. Can you show me the safety mechanism and how to put it in safety now? And I think that first off, I go closing it and closing it so that you can open the blade. And Mark, maybe turn that so that the blade faces the camera so they can see that blade side when you're opening and closing it. There you go. And then hold it upright so it's like cutting there so we can see it with it cutting down. And go ahead and lift that up so they can see where the guard is to remove that.
So the safety too. So right here on the side, this is the safety, so we can lock the blade, which covers the blade. So there's a nice plastic piece, as you can see right down here. So right here, Roxana, you can simply just pull that up, and the blade, I'm gonna come down here lower. Oh, woo. All right, so the blade right there is showing. So there it is. I'm going to bring it back down again, and there it is. And so that feature is on the side right there. That's how you lock the blade in place. Okay. And Carla, we get a lot of questions about how hard it is to lock, and plus how, well, it's really easy.
Oh, it's very easy.
It's really easy.
There's not a lot to pushing this up. It's very smooth, and it's not hard to do at all. In fact, see how I just pushed that? Well, I don't have the guide on the track.
So
I was taking it off.
Let's go ahead. So Roxana as well. So as far as the other safety is, we're going to keep all of our fingers intact. So the guide here is black again. So there is the guide right there. We're going to go ahead and interlock that with the ruler track. So the blade is against the ruler's edge. So that is how it locks into place. Great question. And let's get to, is there any more questions that we can get to? All right, so Joyce, do they slide easy?
Oh, these? Yes. The little Safeties, yes, they slide easy.
The guide came. And then also maybe let's talk about another feature that may slide easy. Maybe on the ruler, Nathan, right? Maybe. So
the guide on
the
against
guide,
the
yeah.
ruler.
So really, there's no really bearing when the guide is on the top of the track. It keeps it, like you can see, I can just go up and down really fast. So it is very smooth on the ruler. All right, Lynette asks, why do the rulers have the square holes? Are the holes functional?
Yes.
So the square holes, they're good for spanking grandkids, wind resistance. No, I'm just kidding. Do not spank them. Maybe the husbands, if you want to get to the husbands, you can do that. My wife does that to me all the
Mark
time.
M at graceframe.com.
Yes. Okay. So getting back to the holes, on a serious note, again, we are professionals and we do not mess around.
Oh,
right,
no,
Carla?
never.
No. Okay, so let's talk about the holes again. What are the functions of the holes?
Oh, the functions are to help you hold it in place. Okay, so it's going to give you that nice stability. Where other rulers, you can just push down in that holes, and you don't have to put a lot of pressure on it. Now that helps with holding the ruler. Also, it helps you with reading the ruler. Okay, you can just line up your ruler with your lines, and it just makes it easier. And when it's on the fabric, it helps you to align your ruler to the right size, so that you're making your cuts nice and straight from this end to this end. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get it wider because you aligned it wrong. So it's going to be angled off this direction. You can see if it's angled off any direction, how the lines and the holes in the ruler, I don't know if you can see that. You can tell that with the markings and everything, they're right on.
All right. Good job on explaining that, Carla. I couldn't have said better myself. Okay. So what are your ruler sizes?
Oh, good.
So we have several ruler sizes from the rectangle size, and you can see all these on our website too. Right. So all this information is on the website. But from the rectangle, we have 6.5 by 24.5, 3 by 18, 6.5 by 12.5. And then on the square, we have 12, 9, and 6.5 square. And then we also have the rectangle rulers, and those sizes are
the triangles.
So they're just triangles on that one. Okay. So as we go back to the rulers, there's not much. The rulers are rulers, so there's not much to them outside of the features with the holes and with the track. To them, and they're easy to read, right? So we have now started talking about the cutter and the ruler. They go together. Perfect combination. Perfect. Let's talk about how we keep the rulers from sliding. All right. And these are the True Grips. So the True Grips, these are rubber adhesive rings, and I'm going to peel one off, and we're going to see how good the camera can get to these because they're very thin. They are clear. It's like almost like a contact. Okay, and you notice there's a hole in the middle. So there's tiny circles and these large circles. So you get 30. You get 15 of these large ones and 15 of the small ones. These go on the back of any ruler, right? Rulers that you want to keep from sliding, they go on the back on it. Any ruler. Carla, how important is it? First of all, there's two questions for you, Carla. People try to keep the ruler from sliding, so they use other materials. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they use sandpaper, right? How important is it if you want to keep your ruler from sliding to use clear stuff underneath it?
Oh, you want to be able to read your lines and your numbers all the way up. So if you have something that's going to detract or a different color, yeah, you don't want that because you want it to be able to be readable from this end to this end, and you want it not to slide because we're pushing against it on any other. It's going to slide on you.
Right. So let's quickly demonstrate that. There. So we have some on our demonstration ruler. So these two rulers have them on. Mm-hmm. This one does not.
It slides
right?
Really
Go ahead and press
easy.
on there, Carla. My son's name is Carter, so hope he's watching. So you can see even both hands as you're pressing down, it will slide on you. And once we put these on, and now this will also do it on and off the fabric, right? Go ahead and now press down on that one.
It takes so much more effort to get it to slide.
That's right. So let me grab the magnet from underneath that's holding that. So, no, I'm just kidding, the no magnet. They are these little guys. Okay, so that's the rulers from sliding.
They truly grip.
They truly grip. Yep, they go on the back. Now, with the True Grips, they go on any ruler. Now we're starting, you can see kind of a pattern here, right? We're talking about the comfort cutter. That talks about the wrist, the fingers, elbow, all the joints, easy, safe, and accurate. You put that with our ruler. Now you have a cutting mechanism that keeps you straight and accurate and also safe. Now we talked about the True Grips, right? So like all these three items we're talking about keeps your ruler in place, keeps the blade against the ruler, and keep you from going over the top. So we're talking about a very simple process and very easy. All right, from there, let's talk about our sharpeners.
Oh, okay, yes.
Okay, we have two sharpeners, and with the sharpeners, we have an electric sharpener and we have a linear sharpener, or what we call a manual sharpener. Now, over the years, we continue to get this even to this day because we are sharpening blades. The number one question we get is,
do they really work?
Yes. And
yes, they do.
Yes.
We wouldn't sell them if they didn't really work. They really work.
They really do. So we're not just saying that. There is a key ingredient that allows these sharpeners to function the way they should. Something that we've been using for centuries. It's never changed. We've been using it, like I said, for centuries. And we use it to this day.
Since probably the caveman.
Probably. But they are stones. Ceramic stone, diamond stone, wet stone, whatever stone, that's what we use. So you can see on the screen right there, we use diamond stones in both of our sharpeners, okay? The small ones you see there go actually in our electric sharpener, and we have a bigger one in our manual sharpener. So let's talk about the sharpeners and why would someone, because we can buy blades, right?
Oh, but they're so expensive.
They're expensive, and how many times are we up maybe at 10 o'clock at night, 11 or what have you, and you're doing a project and you're cutting and you're cutting and you're cutting and you're using a dull blade because you know the stores are closed. You have to finish your project, so you can use it over and over and over again. Cutting with the dull blade does what?
Oh, it frays the fabric, number one. It does a number on you yourself because you have to keep going over and over and over and over again. So you're just getting that repetition.
That's right. And the mat, right?
Right.
Maybe I can come in too with some of that. I know, Mark, when you talked about some of the stress that ends up happening in safety, I love talking about one of those key things that also happens is you talked about late at night. And by the way, this is a true story. I went over to a house of a lady in my neighborhood, and she said, "Oh, I'm finishing quilts," and I'm like, "Oh, okay. I'm curious to go see what she's doing." And she was cutting, and it wasn't cutting. It wasn't cutting. Like literally, it was fraying. And I had never seen somebody pushing so hard on the blade before. And I'm just thinking like, this is not a good place to be in. But again, to your point, fraying fabrics. I know that you have to be exhausted, right? Mark, is your mat gonna last? There's no way, right? That's just going to be wearing all that out immediately. And I'd love to come back. The term we have with TrueCut is easy, safe, and accurate. I think that those three things are not happening. And I love the quote I always tell people is, hey, you never have to cut with the dull blade. So sorry, I'm going to pop back out. I just thought I would share that quick story that is very vivid in my mind when I think about being able to sharpen a blade or being able to hone it back in. So
yeah, it's true. So we talk about the mat. If you're using a dull blade, oh my gosh. So we'll get in our mats in a minute, but we talk about they can self-heal. Well, that is a term we all use, and over time, they will run this course. But especially with the dull blade, you will run that course with your mat very, very soon because you're really just digging into that mat. So let's talk about so we already mentioned the reasons why we want to have a sharp blade. We already talked about us cutting at night and pretending to go to the store, and you nailed it on the head. They are expensive. Blades can be very expensive.
Are very expensive.
Okay. So we have, again, the two sharpeners. Let's focus on this linear sharpener. So this is our new redesign of our manual sharpener. Now, Carla, what is the story behind this one?
Oh, it's my mom's invention.
Yes.
Yeah, so my mom, Grace, she brought this idea to my brother, and my brother is all about new ideas and new ways of doing things. And so he's so proud of this story that at her funeral, this is one of the stories that he told, that my mom's an inventor and she invented the linear sharpener.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about this in the design. So we have the two sharpeners that I keep mentioning. This one in particular is perfect to keep on your cutting table. So when I call it manual sharpener, because you have to manually sharpen your blade back and forth on the sharpener. And that's okay, because with this same process, we can keep it on our cutting table. So I'm going to put that down. And as we go to cut, now first of all, you never want to sharpen a sharp blade. Okay.
Yeah, no.
So all of our blades are sharp, but I'm going to show you how to still use. So as we go to cut, you go from cutting your fabric, and as soon as you start seeing the skip stitches or you're pressing harder in so you can make those cuts, let's bring it over to here. So this stays right onto your cutting table. So now I'm cutting over to sharpening. So I put that right in the groove. I'm going to show you the groove right there. So there's that groove that the blade's going to go in. And I can go back and forth, sharpening. And like I said, I don't have it in there, so I slipped off. You don't ever want to touch it, but you don't want to sharpen a sharp blade either. So we're going to go back and forth, okay? Now from there, we want to rotate it because blades are two-sided. And we go ahead and do that again, okay? So as we do this, and you notice that the sharpener is not sliding anywhere. You can see the white underneath. I'm going to show that around. These are the rubber feet that keeps the blade, or I keep saying blade, the sharpener on your mat. Again, we do not want you handling the sharpener as you are using it. Okay, so it stays right on there. So this one, you can go from cutting to sharpening, back and forth. And it truly extends the life of the blade. Right?
Yes.
Now those projects that
really
you're really,
works.
yes, now you're struggling because you're cutting at night or you just don't want to go to the store, keep this on your cutting table and it's perfect to go back and forth. Okay. Now, again, that's us doing it manually.
Right.
We have one that's electric. This is very popular.
Right.
Because it does it for you. So we're going to open it up and there's a blade inside. Okay. So it has the two stones. So one at the top, one at the bottom. So it sharpens both sides of your blades at once. It has a lever here that you can pop open the blade. I'm going to turn it.
Instead of tweezers.
There you go. So you can see it pop the blade. Comes with tweezers. So again, we are very safe. Even though we're handling a dull blade, it can still cut you. And we want to make sure we're staying safe. Right. So as we're coming here, but again, I'm a professional. So I'm just going to grab this out and hold it in my hand. Okay. So I'm going to hold the blade up. This is a 45 millimeter comfort blade. On the bottom of the sharpener, you can't see because again it's black, but there are grooves. There are lines around here that indicate where you can put your blade. So you see on the screen as well. So we have our 28, our 45, and our 60, and they fit right inside the groove markings where it's supposed to go. And then it sits right in nice. You close the lid. Hold it down, you plug it into your wall, so it's electric. Let's see, there it is. And then you press a button down, and that's it. So that's it. So it's a very simple process. So if we were going to start again, Carla, you put the blade in,
right?
Close it,
right?
Press a button,
right?
And that's the simple process. Now, depending on how dull your blades are, your blades can be really dull.
Right.
So that process is how you do it, but you might have to do that process 3 or 4 times in order for your blade to come back. So it's not as simple. It is simple. It's not a quick process because blades can be very dull.
Yes.
Yep. So simple process on that one. And so if you've kept a stack of blades, we talked about how expensive they are, right?
Right.
That's a lot of money that you have sitting in. So what a great opportunity it is for you to grab that stack of blade, sharpen what you can out of them, and now that's money that you had really brought back and saved in your pocket.
That's right. You could spend it on other things, other important things like fabric, more thread, shoes.
Shoes, yes. Spend them on shoes. Okay, Nathan, do we have any questions that we can help answer?
Well, we'll take a quick look here. Just a minute. I thought I would just bring this back, Mark. I'm going to put this on screen while we're talking. Talking about the electric rotary blade sharpener. Now we do have the manual. Mark, sometimes you say, hey, let's bundle it up because maybe you want one on your cutting station and then one when you have bulk bits of it. We've had people do that. But coming back to this electric sharpener, we've done a lot of things over several years to continue to hone this in. And I just like looking at these key pieces, saving your rotary blade money for other things, Carl, like you're talking about, your threads, your fabrics, those other things that you love to do. It doesn't get easier than this, with the push of a button, right? And, you're going to get those sharp blades in even less time. The manual one does work great, but we found that if you don't want to physically work on pushing that cutter back and forth through the larger linear stone, then you can just utilize this electric sharpener. And that electric sharpener does that in a much quicker process in order to hone that back to a near factory edge, making that very sharp. And I think, Mark, one of the biggest questions that we always get, like you mentioned there, is does it really work? It absolutely does, because we're using a process that's been proven over the ages, which is really rehoning, honing that blade back so that it's prepared, ready for us to cut the fabric nicely. Now, one of the questions, I'll just maybe pose this and then have you guys answer this for us. One of the individuals was asking, like, what happens if you run over a pin? Like, how big of a nick, or what does it mean from a sharpening? Can you sharpen that or can you not?
Great question, Nathan. And I'll have myself, we might have different answers because I have never run over a pin, but I do know, and Carla has, but I do know how the sharpening process works. And with the pin, it really depends on how deep that nick is. With the electric sharpener, that would be easier to get those out. Those tiny nicks will come out with the electric sharpener.
It may take you a while,
yes.
And we're not just a simple little process.
Right. With the linear sharpener, you're doing more manual work, and so that process will really, really take a long time, and it may not be really worth it with the manual sharpener, but it can be depending on how big that nick is.
There's nothing more frustrating to change your blade and then run over a pin. I hear you. I feel your pain. However, it'll take a while. It can be done. I just want you to know it can be done, but your time versus money, maybe it's not worth all of that time, and you might want to replace the blade.
Yeah, I like to talk about that with the customer. If you end up with a nick, you'd have to grind the remaining steel down past that. So if you're running over a pin, my recommendations is that you probably just get a new blade. However, flat spots, I've dropped cutters and had them get a big flat spot, or you'll notice you'll start getting those skipped stitches and those threads. Those come out quite easily. And so that really is the key thing. And then the other big one, remember when I brought up, think about this, every quilter, take this in your mind and think, oh, have I ever cut with a dull blade? And everybody's going to say yes. And then I would ask, well, how long did you cut with a dull blade? And then we start going, that's not a good idea. And if I think you don't have to cut with the dull blade, like ever. And so by having the True Sharp or the linear sharpener, you literally can always just hone the blade back in so that it's back and sharp and ready to go. So I just love part of what that is and thought I would kind of bring that in. Mark and Carla, as we're going through some things, maybe I know we have about 15 more minutes before we get into giving away a few more prizes. I think that outside of the sharpeners, maybe if there were any last things you wanted to talk about on the sharpeners, maybe we can do so. Mark, I know you had brought up earlier when I was with you, you like some of the non-slip components that go along with the pads. And I thought the last thing too, nobody's really seen the aha with the circle cutter. So if we would have a circle cutter, I think that the group would love to see really how does that work? Is it really as easy as it seems? So I thought maybe we could utilize some of the time to talk about those last few things before we kind of wrap up. So.
Absolutely. Let's do that aha moment here. We talk about the circle cutter, and it's never been shown. So we have, as you see on the table here, we have some circles already cut out. A very simple process, as Carla knows from cutting her quilt. So I'm going to, as much as we can, yep, we have a good picture right there. So now most of the time you're going to really probably iron your fabric so it's not as wrinkly, but potentially not, where you still could probably have the wrinkles in. As we talked about the wide skid, you can know, even on and off the fabric, that fabric underneath does not want to move, right? So as you make your circle cut, it's going to keep the same process. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and get that circle. We're going to cut a circle out of here. So it's a very simple process. And because the way we designed this, we want to make one nice clean swoop around in a circle, right? which means if I hold it this way and we go around, I get caught with my other hand, so then I can come back underneath, and that's fine.
That's
but
fine.
You might want to just go back a little bit and come forward, so you maybe could get the tail that you might have as you do your circle cut. So that's not a problem. So now, as we look at doing it this way, we want to keep all of our hands within inside the skid, right? I call that kind of the skid or the body of the circle cutter. It's very, very simple. So I'm going to do this really fast. So hopefully all eyes are on here, because watch how fast this becomes. Okay. As I press down here, I'm going to go ahead and press down this knob. I'm going to cross my hands, as you see here. That way I can make one clean circle as I go around. And I am done.
Wow.
Whoa, sorry, the camera. I hold it up. I remember
That
where the
was
camera
fast.
is. So there you go. Yep. So there is the circle as we cut it out. And it's very fast, very simple, because of the rotary blade for one. And you're going around. It's almost still like a pizza cutter where you're still going around like a rotary cutter. So it makes it very, very simple with that. So yeah, that is the cutting circles.
Yeah.
And Carla's moving it. So let's go ahead and look at, Carla, the sizes that we can cut with the circle cutter.
2 inches to 12.
That's right. And what is that knob that you're moving right there? I didn't really explain that, but what is that knob that you're moving
That
around?
knob is where the little pointer is that holds it down into the fabric. So that's what you're pushing it down. So you will take it. So this screws and unscrews so you can adjust it. So I want an 8-inch circle. I want to put my little legs here on the 8 and tighten it back up. And then I'm just going to hold it down. And I'm going to do my crossing of my hands, but I have to start here. And then you're going to push this down. So this is where your blade is, right here. And you're going to push it down as well. And there's a little safety so that you can keep it nice and safe and cover to lock it into place and unlock it. And there are replacement blades as well. So yeah, we have the replacement blades because they're smaller size.
That's right. Now let's talk about the safety again of taking the blade out. So how we take the blade out, there is a notch or a little plastic lever right here that we're going to just simply press in and pop open that lid. So as we look at this, I keep moving it up, and okay, so there is the blade right there. Now it has a cartridge, so it's very easy. As we come to pull it out, I'm going to show you the cartridge right there. So there's the cartridge with the blade. So again, it's very, very safe to take that out. I am grabbing the plastic of that cartridge that holds a blade, so I'm not even touching the blade at all. I'm covering it, but I'm not even touching it, okay? I am pulling it out. So now when we put it back in, it just snaps in as well. So now that blade's in there. And now we can go ahead and keep that down. And that's right there. And then like Carla mentioned, for safety.
For locking for kids.
Yes.
So they don't get in it. You'll just replace the little cover piece on the blade when you're not using it.
Yes, exactly. So that is the safety on the blade and how we get the blade out. And so with a lot of the stuff we said, Carla, there are a lot of people who's commenting and questions, right? So again, live videos, let's get to some of these questions.
That's awesome.
Maybe I'll come back in. First and foremost, I'm going to just put this out. Mark, someone says you look smooth. I'm just kidding. It's about the cutter. It was very smooth.
Talking about my head, maybe my head is very smooth.
Other comments, wow, impressive. A lot of people were talking about that, it's amazing. One question I thought maybe we could just briefly answer on this, and I maybe would refer back to denim. I had somebody asking about denim. They were wanting to know how many layers of fabric can a circle cut at a time. And that blade does come through. And one thing we talk about is about 2 layers of denim would be the most that we would want to use, or probably we would say no more than 4 layers of fabric. And so if you're looking for real precision, we're going to say probably 1 at a time, because the fabric, as you stack it and you put pressure, we don't want those really shifting. But we have had people do 4 layers at a time or 2 layers of denim for some of those bigger projects. So
As well. Which felt is a real popular thing.
Do the circle cutter replacement blades come inside a cartridge? Absolutely, they do. So again, we don't want them there's no way really to handle the blades in the circle cutter if it didn't. So it does come with the cartridge. You can see on the screen right there. So there's a lid or a cover that covers that blade.
Right. Very safe.
Thanks for the support of those who have used this. It's been fun hearing those comments. It has been fantastic, and it's received a wonderful acceptance. You know, when we created this product, you know, that big skid we did, because if you think about the current circle cutters, they're open, they have this blade and it pushes and pulls fabric. And again, our whole goal was to make it easier, safer, and more accurate. And we wanted to solve a lot of those biggest challenges. And so this 360 ended up costing a little more than we really wanted when we were looking at what we were trying to do from our competitors. But what we found is that because of the solutions that it's really providing, and because of how it works, and because of how you can interact with it, it's just done an amazing job. And so it really is as easy as what Mark was showing you. We have people at shows, hey, can I try that? Mark, and you're inviting them up. I know, Carla, here, come give this a try, and you work through them and let them see that really it is that easy to adjust it, it's that easy to cut with it as part of that process. So maybe as we're kind of concluding here, Mark, maybe we can finish with the mats and the pads, and I know we have something that keeps those in place as well. And then we can kind of just loop back around with the entire TrueCut product line, as it's been an exciting product line to have as a whole, and we can kind of go from there.
Absolutely. So as Nathan mentioned, the mats. And so our mats
Are awesome.
are very awesome. So they are easy to read.
Yes.
They're double-sided. So I always like to tell people you're basically getting 2 mats for the price of 1. So let's go ahead and show it this way to the camera right there, Carla. We're going to fold it. There you go.
You see that?
So they are 2-sided. And with it being 2-sided, it has your bias lines, easy to read lines, and we also have this non-slip pad underneath. So as we put the mat back down, being how they're double-sided, again, we talk about the whole self-healing mat, right? Now, that's true to an extent, because over time, the mats will start, I want to say delaminating, right? And you're gonna start feeling the grooves. You can take care of those grooves for only so long. But because of our mats are double-sided, you are really getting 2 mats for the price of 1, easy to read, and we want to keep them from staying put. So this mat right here, you can see I can slide this mat, very, very simple. This mat over here, I cannot slide
We're
at
not
all.
faking this either.
No, I am putting all my muscle into moving this mat.
I made
and it
him
is
work
not,
out, and he can't move it.
That's right, I'm shaking the table. So as I showed earlier, we have that non-slip pad.
Oh, so exactly legit and is doing what we're showing. So
Non-slip pad that go underneath the mat. We have a one-size-fit-all, so you can get the mat and cut it to the size of your particular mat. And you don't have to have it. Some like to keep their mat from sliding, but for those who keep fighting their mats, what a great way to keep any mat from sliding.
If you're cutting on the counter or a table or even the floor, you don't want your mat sliding away from you. It is truly important. It's one of those features that you don't realize how nice it is until you are able to use it.
That's right. And that's non-slip pad underneath. Again, like I mentioned, you can, it's one size fit all. So you can actually buy it for your own mat. It is an option. It is sold separately. So they don't come together. All of our stuff is sold independently, but you can get that mat and just buy the non-slip pad for your own ruler.
And it helps to keep your mat right there for you so you can cut. So when you're reaching, it just keeps it from sliding in that direction away from you.
Yeah. So the non-slip pad is a one-size-fit-all. Our mats are 3 sizes. So we have the standard 24 by 36, 18 by 24, and 12 by 18 cutting mat. So Annie, do the mats come in other colors?
Nope.
Let's talk about that. Why did we keep the color that we chosen, Carla?
We wanted to stand out. And it's easy to read. And that's why we did a lot of research, and we just felt like this was easier to read, easier to use, easier to line things up with. So that's why we went. And there's other mats and other colors, and
yeah, we chose it this way.
we chose it this way.
Our mats, not only double-sided, but they're 5-ply. And
Right.
what that really means is 5-ply is it's thicker, so
Right.
it could withhold many cuts for over time. And what that means, we have the 2-sided of the gray. So that's one side, the back is another side. And in the middle, we have our really the stuff that helps self-heal the mats.
Yeah.
And that is a 3-layer. So it is, you can see the picture right there. So the picture kind of shows the grays are the top and bottom, and then the white. And that is a 5-ply. And that allows, again, for longer use of the mat. So if those who are going through mats, because first of all, you have a single-sided mat.
Right.
Let's get you the TrueCut mat that's double-sided. Outside of the double-sided, you can cut for a longer period of time with our mats without needing to get a new mat.
Right.
So, okay, I would love to see if there's any questions at this time before we look like we'll wrap things up with our TrueCut. All right, so Kitty, are the under mats sold separately? Yes.
Yes.
Yep. So they're sold separately as.
They're called non-slip.
And it's a one-size-fit-all. So
Non-skid pads is
yep.
what they're called.
Yeah, one size fit. I want to say one size fit all. I'm sorry. We have one mat that you can cut into the size of mat that you want. It has the cutting lines on there, so you know what size to cut to. Okay, so from Carla, as we conclude, we have really a cutting system that keeps the cutter more accurate.
Right.
They're cutting straighter. They are no longer veering off to no man's land.
Mm-hmm.
You can interlock the cutter with the ruler. We have our ergonomic cutter.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
We have our straight cutter. We have our rulers. Really, it's the last system that you'll ever want.
Mm-hmm.
And all of our rulers come with the guide, even our triangle rulers. And if you haven't seen them, check those out, because you can cut and make amazing quilts.
That's right. And for those viewers who really think like, oh, okay, I love my Olfa or whatever I have, and I cannot change, give this a try, because we hear that all the time. And once they try the ergonomics of the cutter and hold it in their hand, using our rulers, they do not go back.
Right.
And so I just say, with us talking about it, give it a try for yourself, and you can really see how nice it is.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Mark. I thought one last thing that we would do before we leave this really quick is I just wanted to show our website. Those who haven't really had a chance to experience this, again, coming back, thanks. There's been a lot of individuals who apparently have used the product or know about the product. We appreciate your support in the use of those things. Our honest goal has been and is to make cutting easier, safer, more accurate as far as an experience that you're going to have. You can see that right now I'm on the Grace Frame website. Up top on this, we do actually have one of the items that says TrueCut. And underneath TrueCut, we have a lot of the stories behind kind of what we've talked through. So if you were to scroll through this, we talk about the key elements like the track and the ergonomic cutters. We talk about what that does and what that means for the shape. You'll notice that at the very top of this page also, or if you're on a mobile device, you'll see a small pancake menu. You can go across and look at the individual products, the My Comfort cutters and all the rulers, the True Sharp 2, which is one of the electric rotary blade sharpener that we've just talked about, the linear sharpener, the TrueCut 360, so the 360 circle cutter, cutting mats, and then obviously the additional accessories that are part of the product line from TrueCut. Again, continue to look for new items. Carla and Mark mentioned that we did add the quick release, which is brand new to the 45 millimeter My Comfort cutter. It is soon coming to a 60 millimeter Comfort cutter. We do have 60 millimeter cutters, and we're currently in the process of reintroducing a 28 millimeter on the My Comfort cutter, but be looking for that quick release to come to all of our cutters. We also currently have it on the straight cutter. So we also have that quick release currently in our straight cutter. So again, go to the website, look for more information. Also understand, as you're shopping or browsing, I would encourage you to go to the festival promotional pieces. You'll notice that there are promotions also running on the TrueCut product, and we gave away a pack of thread. Don't forget, there's a coupon you can use for a special discount with that thread as well. So make sure to go to the page that has a little bit more detail on some of the promotions we're currently running, so that you too can take advantage of some of those discounts that we have out there. Now, Mark and Carla, I noticed that you're in front of the TrueCut, but we're now moving to our 2 o'clock hour. And I don't know if anybody really fully knows what this means. Probably don't, but this is our giveaway hour. and we're doing some product demonstration in this hour. So we're going to be talking about a couple key things that we're going to be giving away. We like to do a demonstration on what those are. And then we really wanted to also spend a little bit more time. Last week, if you remember, for those who might have joined us, we actually went through several of the QNIC machines. We talked about starting with your domestic machine, what it means when you start with your domestic machine and then move to the 15-inch machine. We have 19-inch machines and 21-inch machines. Now, I did see that there have been several questions throughout the day, potentially, and maybe today, Carla, if you'll just take note, there were a lot of people wondering, do you have a favorite machine, Carla? So I think I would love to come back and we'll get and be thinking about that. Be thinking about maybe if there's something that stands out in each one of those that you can share with our crowd. But we're going to talk about what the giveaway is for next week, and it's a full system. We're not talking kind of, hey, we're gonna try to save some money on part of this giveaway, or hey, we're gonna give you something that you're gonna want more of. We're giving away like I'm gonna say friendliest machine. Mark and Carla, would you say that the 19 is probably our friendliest machine?
Yes.
I know that when we show that with people, that wow, it's just super approachable. 19 inches, stitch regulated, touchscreen, multiple functions, adjustable handles. We have professional frame that it's going to come with. So what is that frame? 8, 10, or 12 foot, light bars, and even more critically on top of that, we're providing that with our Quilter's Creative Touch 5 Pro. So our top automated system is what that package is. And so we're going to spend a little time today getting a little more familiar with what that is. And so as we move into part of where we're at right now, I'm just going to kind of bring this back up on screen with us. For those that are joining us, if you've been with us or if you're just joining us here recently, know that if you're looking to enter to win, up here on the screen, if you go to graceframe.com and you click on the festival, it's pretty easy, just entering to win right here. So Mark and Carla, before we move into looking at the doing some additional giveaways and talking a little bit more about what those giveaways are, and talking a little bit about here the big award that we're going to be presenting next week, just maybe share some of the thoughts that you've had regarding the festival, your thoughts regarding those who have been able to participate, and maybe some of those people we've had on the screen with us as well.
The festival. I don't particularly like being on screen, but it has been just phenomenal how the participation and the quilters becoming involved. And it's actually our way of meeting you without meeting you physically. So I really appreciate you coming and joining us every week. And sometimes they're a little longer than others. And we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy life to just be a part of what we have here. And we're very excited to show you our products. And we are very enthusiastic about what we make. And so thank you for being a part of this.
Yeah, Carla, that's why I had you go first, because I'm just going to say everything that she said, I agree as well. So, no, it's been fun interacting to the questions. I love to interact at the shows. I love to see the people face to face. I love to be able to have that aspect. So doing these live videos, we have, and we appreciate the patience, either through Audible or, some of the shortcomings that we have, for you to still stay and watch. Yeah, for you to still stay and watch it's been nice. And to see where everybody is from, what they own, the questions they have, it really shows that they love this hobby and they really want to know more about the product. And so it gives Carla and I, a very good pleasure on showing what we have and talking about our product, because our products, they really sell themselves. And so we're not up here trying to tell someone why you need a TrueCut or the machine or the frame once they hear about the features. And we love talking about the features and benefits, because we're all about solving the problems in the quilting world, and these tools help you do that. So thank you for all your views and all your thoughts and comments as well.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Mark and Carla. I thought maybe I'll just come back to some comments that I'm seeing here. I just wanted to put some of these things out. We just see a lot of people, again, being very, very grateful for part of what we're looking to do. I know we mentioned part of what that giveaway is. We had a couple people just pretty impressed. I would say I was excited when we decided to come out with that package. Now, earlier on in the show, We also gave away a 15 and one of our Q-Zone hoop frames, which is really fun to do. I also thought I'd bring this up. People still entering your quilts, so thank you. This is Vicky West. Hey, just entered a quilt today. So I wanted to do that quick shout out to everybody. If you haven't already entered a quilt, there's still some time for you to enter a quilt in order to win and participate in part of what that one is. And just so you know, we have, I need to look at the numbers here, and later on I'll probably share some of those, but I know we have over 2,000 quilts entered. I want to say we're probably approaching over 1,000 people who have entered those quilts. And so again, I know that it's been very overwhelmingly impressive with the amount of you and who've participated. So thank you very much. I know, Carla, you mentioned how fun that's been too, and everybody that we have on the team has been just very impressed, and they love looking at those quilts and going through it. So again, if you haven't had a chance, there's still an opportunity. People would love to see them. We're going to leave this up throughout the weekend after the giveaway as well, so that everybody can still enjoy part of that wonderful, fantastic giveaway that we currently got going on. So another person mentioned, if you can see here, this is Barb Garen, I want to say, Angie, Terry. Yes, I can go back and watch past shows. People were asking about some of the previous shows. Please understand and know that if you're by chance missing this, that there is an opportunity to go back, and that we're going to post some of these additional videos here tomorrow and the next couple days as well. But if you haven't, thanks for watching. And if you're missing this, we're hoping that you've been able to come back here a little bit later on in order to enjoy the conversations that we've had. Again, wonderful show, wonderful event, wonderful participation. I was trying to think if there'd be a couple other quick things here. Just a lot of gratitude coming from those people who are with us and currently online with us so far. Another person, let me see if I love this one. This one had a lot of emojis that stood out to me. Let me put this one on the screen here. I just had about 50 here. Give me just a second. Sorry. Thanks everybody for your patience in this, but it just said she's just been super excited about everything that's going on. There, well, maybe I'm not going to get to it here because I think we just had about 20 more people comment. Here's another person right here. Just what incredible prize. This is one of the giveaways that we were doing. They were pretty excited about what that one is going to be. Good luck, everyone. I hope and wish everybody good luck as well. So with that, Mark, let's go ahead and do a couple spin the wheels. And then what I'd like to do is maybe, Brian, is there a way if we can look at the whole room as a whole to see what we've got going on here? Do we have a picture so we can kind of see Mark and Carla and what we're going to be looking at coming up? So here's where we're at with Mark and Carla. You'll notice on the other side of the room, we do have the Continuum frame. This is the new Continuum 2, which we will be sending out. So this frame kind of went live yesterday of this week for all those who are participating with us. And it's a frame that has a few updated features from our current Continuum. So this is the Professional Series frame with that 19-inch machine and the automation sitting on top. Quick caveat, the machine itself, the automation does not come with that tablet. It is a Windows-based tablet. We have some specs that we're going to talk to you about that, and we'll share a little bit more as we get in why we do that as a business. But again, thank you everybody for your participation, and we're excited to do a little bit more on the demonstration. But maybe we can bring Mark and Carla in and look at the spinning wheel. And as that's the case, I think we're in need of a question.
Oh, shoot.
It's getting hot in here.
Oh, wait, it's a question for Carla, though. What is the question?
Oh.
Question.
Okay.
Something with our TrueCut?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. Who invented this item? It's the linear sharpener, but who is the inventor of this item?
So I'm going to come back on the question. I'm wondering is if everybody knows. Let me pull that up here really quick
On our screen.
You should know.
And so we're going to hold it up one more time. I'm going to put it on the screen.
Okay.
Now I'm maybe going to confuse them. Not really, but this is what Carla's talking about right there.
Yeah.
There we go.
Who invented this?
Now, again, we're just going to randomly select, so we're not going to say first person. We're just going to scroll down this list.
Hey.
And we're going to choose both someone from Facebook and somebody from YouTube on this particular one. So let's find out what we have with all of our comments. And we have like 1 million. Like right now, I think we just had like 78 pop on through. And there's
I always worry.
no needs to worry. Somebody said your brother. No, this was unfortunately not quite right. Not the brother, close, but I love this one, and I'm going to pull this one because it is a correct answer. And so this is our YouTube. So
There
this
you
is great.
go.
Her mother is the one who came up with
Yeah.
it. Jim, the brother, is correct. He's the one who ended up designing it. But the inventor of this is Grace Bagley.
Yeah.
Fun being around her while she was here again. So enjoyable times with her as the namesake of the company. So Mark, with this, I'm going to have you hold your hand over the wheel. Give us a mojo for us. See if you can get Sandy Albertson some good stuff on what we're going to give away. Now, again, just as a reconfirmation, if we have new people, it looks like we have a few more people streaming with us now as part of this giveaway happens. Yes, we'll be doing some live giveaways. Thank you for joining us with part of those. The question I would have as part of these live giveaways, not a question, but so you know, if you're a winner, and we are going to be pulling these from the 48 lower states, is what we're doing currently for the live giveaways. The bigger giveaways, we are shipping those actually throughout the world if you're by chance polled as one of the winners for that. But if you're a winner, email sales, SALES, at graceframe.com. So email sales at graceframe.com. So let's go ahead and see what Grace is going to win.
Sandy.
Sandy. All right, here we go, Sandy. Hopefully you have something in mind that I'm going to land right on.
Yeah. Be cool if it was the linear sharpener.
It would be, right?
Oh, it's an awesome one though.
Quilters combo. So let's pull that up here, Carla. You have the ruler.
I have the ruler.
Yep.
This is gonna by
piece
24
it
and a half.
together here. So there it is, and what I will talk about. So it comes with a 45 comfort cutter. It has a 6.5 by 24.5 ruler, and it comes with this set of True Grips. So the True Grips, if we can move, there we go, pull up. So Sandy, you get really the best combo because it gives you what you need really to be more accurate.
Yeah, keep quilting for a long time.
That's right, keep quilting, Sandy. Okay. And we'll have another one.
Going back on here.
So thanks again, Sandy. Now that one was the one from
YouTube.
And again, the question is, let's go ahead and pull this one here. We have Missy Scales. So let's go ahead and spin for Missy Scales and see what she's going to win. Again, congratulations, winners, for part of this. That last winner is the Quilters combo. That is our hottest selling combo. Mark, at a show, right? Hands down, we sell hordes of those Quilters combos, which is that ruler, the cutter, and the non-slip pad, because that is the system, that is the patent, that's the track, that's the ergonomics, that's the non-slip pads, which half of you might already have on those true grips, but most successful. So let's see what we've got in store for Grace. Sorry, for Missy.
Okay,
the circle cutter.
Circle cutter.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so Missy, the circle cutter, again, 2 to 12 inches. It has a rotary blade, keeps the fabric nice and flat from the wide base right here. And you can cut circles
all day long.
All day long. So you're going to find that if you have ever tried to cut circles before, Missy, or didn't have the correct tool, this is the tool that allows you to
You don't have to draw them with your bowl or whatever circle you have. You don't have to cut around that line that you've drawn with the scissors. This just does it in one swoop.
That's right.
You're just pushing it down and going to turn it around, and you've got your circles.
Yep, that's perfect. So congratulations on that, Missy. Great win.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Just as a reminder for the winners, I am going to ask for you to just email sales, SALES, at graceframe.com. Again, sales, SALES.com. Sales at graceframe.com. Sorry, graceframe.com there for an ability to receive your rewards, your wins there. And with that, what I'd like to do is quickly, if we're okay, Mark and Carla, we're going to talk and do some giveaways, and I want to talk a little bit about what these are. We have on the list today TrueSharp, so go ahead and hold our TrueSharp up, Mark, while you're over there, so everybody can kind of see what that is. This is our electric rotary blade sharpener. If you're just joining us, we did talk briefly about this. Mark, maybe just quickly do a quick overview on what that is and what it's doing and why somebody would want to quickly win that.
This is our electric sharpener. This is the stones, diamond stones. One on the top, one on the bottom. Sharpens all main sizes, your 28, your 45, and your 60. It is electric, so you can plug it in. Easy to take to quilt guilds, and maybe you can make some money. Charge like 25 cents a blade.
No, more than that. Come on.
More than that. More than that.
$1 a blade.
Yeah, start charging your friends that keep walking away with your blades. So wonderful, compact electric sharpener. Use the stones. It's phenomenal. So.
Right.
Carla, one of the other items that we're going to be giving away. Let's go and have you guys go and show us the light bar.
Oh.
One of the questions that we get asked regarding this light bar is that we do have two sizes, and we had somebody want to know if they bought the smaller of these two sizes. I have right now up on screen, you can see that there's a small model and a large model. The 11 one does cover frames up to 6 feet, so it will work on the Q-Zone hoop frame. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then how does it also work with the other frames? Maybe just briefly talk about that smaller model versus the larger model.
There is no extension to make it any larger, so it only fits with the smaller hoop frames. But the larger one does have the option to make it 5 foot and extend it out to a 10 foot. And you can adjust the height, so you can bring it if you're working over your work surface cutting and you need that extra light. Because it's on casters, you can move it to your table. And the 5 foot size is wonderful.
Great. With that, I'm going to go ahead and bring that up on screen fully so that everybody can kind of take a look at this as I walk through a couple details on this. So this is one of the giveaways. Just so you know, you can look at that, the full-size 10-foot. We're giving away 2 of the 10-foots today. And what I have is we're going to couple those with the True Sharp. So that's kind of like a double win, where we're going to give you something for your cutting tools. We're also going to then just give you something that's going to be great for your current cutting studio. So I'm going to scroll down this. The 10-foot and the 5-foot work the same way. They do have those true color lights. So we call it like daylight lights. They are LEDs. So that light technology is low heat. So you're not ending up with heat in the room. It's not getting hot in your area. And think about this. If you think about currently where you're at when you're in the process of quilting as an experience piece, if you can think about this, you're usually quilting and the light is in the middle of the room, usually behind you, because you put your frame up against a wall. And so with that being the case, a light bar, something like this, is going to help provide light, not just during the evening or late hours, but even when that sun starts to set, because as soon as you turn the light on in your room, you're going to create a shadow that is then in front of you. And so it's very hard in order to see the workspace. And so again, the LED watch really helps project. They're a 20,000 hour light bulb, which is kind of a long time. You think 20,000 of your life hours being on. So it is very high efficiency. Again, low wattage, low heat. I love this picture. I want to bring this up so everybody can see. You might have a sit-down table or a sit-down sewing machine or an area that you're working. Because this particular light bar itself comes with casters, it can actually be wheeled around in the room. So this can be moved either over a cutting station. This can be moved over your sewing station. It can be moved over your quilting station. And I love this one as well. I've had a lot of people, if they're looking at this, they might have a foldable table, because not everybody has a dedicated room for quilting. But this can be put up on top of a potential table as well. So it's very, very, very versatile. Up, on, or over. Because of the casters, it can be moved. It can be shifted. It's height adjustable. So if I'm standing under something, if I go back to this picture here, you'll notice how much taller this light bar can be. And I'm going to scroll through this. This is maybe potentially sitting. If you're in a sitting position, this is if you were standing and you have this in your room and you wanting to illuminate your work surface as a whole with your cutting. We love to use this at the shows for our cutting products when we're demonstrating the TrueCut like Mark and Carla did. It really just brings a great a bit of light to the area, and it feels very nice to be able to work under such nice light. So I'm just going to continue scrolling down the page to show you a few other things. These are some of the configurations. Somebody might ask, if I were to buy a 12-foot frame, that 10-foot light bar, you can get a 2-foot extension. And so that does allow you to be able to have, and this will work on frames that are up to 12 feet in width, on as far as that's concerned. The frame normally comes, really, you buy it one of two sizes. You buy the small model, which is meant to be set up. It's enough to cover a table that's about 5.5 to just under 6 feet on width. Again, the adjustability is the same on both the 10-foot models and the smaller models. If you buy the large model, the plus thing about that large model is you can actually scale down and scale back. So you can actually build one that's at about an 8 foot. So at Grace Company, we sell an 8-foot frame, which are our queen frames, and you can buy the Continuum 2 at 8 foot, or you might buy our awesome Q Zone queen frame. So those particular frames also allow you to have that correctly sized in your space. Then again, that same large model, you can extend that to the 10 foot, which is really about 11 feet wide to cover those big 10-foot frames. And if you need, you can get that 2-foot extension in order to get that the full size. Are we good? Do we have a chance to kind of show a little bit more with the light on that? I'm going to go ahead and bring Mark and Carla back in so that we can kind of take a look at that here. So
everybody loves having more light and being LED. And what this does too is softens the shadow. So as we talk to customers, and they always talk about the shadows that are on their fabric, this light that's directly above it, it softens those shadows. And so this is one that everybody wants. Having it part of the package where it's free, included with the purchase of a frame, or even with the 21 or 19s, they jump for joy, essentially. At least that's what I'm thinking they're doing at home, is they're jumping for joy because they sound very excited on the phone.
And it's easy to put together. I mean, so easy. It's always my job at all the shows.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Now, Carla, I know that I'm not sure if you've had a chance to use or adjust this light bar as it came to any of the like hoop frames at all, or sitting down with the environment with this being around you.
Just adjust it height so you can move it up or down just with the push of the button right here. So you can raise and lower it.
Right now we probably have it tightened down.
Oh, you do. You have it tightened down with the screws. So anyway, these little holes right here allow you to adjust. So it's height adjustable. So you can bring it down closer if you need it. If you're sitting down, you want it down closer. You just don't want it to hit your head on it. So just move it back out of the way. Oh, it's so easy to wheel around that you don't need 4 people helping you move it through the house. You can do it yourself.
That's right. So it allows over any kind of, it's ready for any kind of quilting, right? Table.
So you can take it from your frame to your table, do your cutting, and have that extra light, which you love and you need as you're cutting, because your eyes get tired. And that light just helps you be able to cut safer.
That's right. And they're easy replacement bulbs.
Yes,
so they are. Replacement parts we have, so it's very, very simple. But casters, adjusting over any length of frame. The LED light softens. So
right, and it's not going to get really hot.
No.
Right. With that, I would like to go ahead and let's talk about announcing. Now, I have, and what I want to do is we're going to give away 2 5-foot light bars. So 2 of there are smaller light bars, and then we're going to do 2 of our 10-foot systems. And what I'd like to do is let's go ahead and give away the first 10-foot system that I would like to have. And with that, Mark, maybe if you can go quickly hustle and grab that TrueSharp, because I want to do a dual package where we end up putting the TrueSharp with this. We're going to put the TrueSharp and the light bar together. So this is electric rotary blade sharpener. Again, it works great on that 28, the 45, and the 60 millimeter cutters. And then we have this light bar, which is that 10-footer you can see. Again, it can be built at 5, it can be built at 8, it can be built at 10. So if you by chance have a studio, I always am thinking, wish I had one in my garage. Don't have one of those in my garage, but as far as a quilting or an experience with the studio, it will work right anywhere in there. The name that we have, again, now remember how to have a chance to join and participate in this process is by entering your name. And I'll just quickly bring this back up one last time. I know it might sound like I say this a lot, but we have people calling all the time. Hey, how do I enter to win? What do I do? How do I enter to put one of my quilts in there? So I'm just going to bring this up in front of us so that we can see. If you go to graceframe.com and you hit the main website, once you come in here, you can click on this big upper image that talks about the Fantastic Fall Festival. You'll notice right up there on the top, enter to win. And that is the easiest way to do so in order to enter to win. And then you'll find that there's an enter to win on every one of these pages. And if you're curious again on what else we're going to be giving away, you can look at part of the giveaway page as well that talks about these different giveaways. Again, you'll notice that there's an enter to win here as well. So we're really excited about that. However, what I'd like to do is get back to the name of the first winner that we're going to choose. And we've drawn, again, from the individuals who have submitted their names here. We have a first lucky winner, and the person we have is a Martha Aaron. And so let me go ahead and put this on our screen. So we have our first lucky winner is Martha. Congratulations, Martha. Last name is Aaron.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. There we go. This is going to be the first winner of the large luminous light system. And what we're doing is that will be the 10-foot light bar and that TrueCut electric rotary blade sharpener. So Martha Aaron, congratulations, Martha. To her, everybody else, share your thanks and your love for her winning what that is. We have another winner as well that is in this same category. And the second winner, let me bring her name up on board for us all. And this one would be of a 5-foot light bar. So we're going to do a 5-foot as well. And we have Janice, and let me spell her last name, Ballestrini. Alestrini is the winner of our 5-foot light bar. And that one we're also including the True Sharp. So congratulations, Janice. Part of what that one is. We've been super glad to have her participate with this as we've been able to do so. I'm going to hold and we're going to do 2 more winners here, probably in about 10 minutes that we'll announce on the additional 10-foot and the additional 5-foot. With that, Mark and Carla, in front of you is our 19-inch machine. This is the big win that we're going to be selecting next week. Maybe if the two of you can just share with us again a little bit and maybe more than a little bit, let's go ahead and introduce them to this 19-inch machine so they can understand why they should be so excited about what this product is and why they are, what they're winning and what that means for them.
Well, I think we both are very excited for this package. The 19 is one of our lighter machines. It is one of our faster machines. It has a touchscreen, so there's a lot of features that we'll get into it, but the 19-inch throw is perfect. And so this, being the machine that it is perfect as a hobbyist machine, the enthusiast out there. So you can't go wrong with this 19-inch machine.
Yeah, it's very easy to use, very user friendly. Let's turn it on. Now it's hooked up to the automation, but and it's lightweight. So as you're moving, because it's so lightweight, it just makes it easy to move and glide across your quilt. Mm-hmm. So it's very lightweight and very easy for you to move your quilt across it. Now this is our Continuum 2 quilting frame, and it's brand new, hot off the boat, and it is a 10-foot frame. So you can set it up in a 5-foot, or you can set it up in the 10-foot size, and you're going to get the light bar to go with it, and it also has our automation. So it's just an overall super package for you to use. And so I've sewn with it just a little bit.
Yeah. So Carla, the 19, now we've done many videos on the 19. We talked about the feature, so I'm sure the features can just like roll out of you because you're so used to bringing up the features. Yes, that's fine. But the 19, there's so many wonderful features on the 19. As we look at the feature sets, Carla, beautiful stitch. The 19 has adjustable handles.
Right.
It has the touchscreen. So let's go over. So the winner that's going to be this particular one, right? But those who are looking to buy it too, let's go over the features of the 19th machine again. We have the 4 different stitch modes. Right. It is a regulated machine, and it has that touchscreen on there. And the thread tower is up front. So we wanted to keep it simple for the user. But let's go over the features and the handlebars. But let's first maybe talk about the different stitch modes of the 19.
Okay, so it has your regulated precise mode. So when I turn it on, if I stop, the needle stops moving. And that is a nice mode if you want to do points or curves. I come into a point. It's just a nice mode for quilting, and it's a mode that a lot of quilters love and use because you can move your needle to the down position. So if you're using rulers and you have your ruler base on, you can stop in the down position to reposition your ruler. So it is a great feature, and also put it in the down position to, so you know where your place is. So that's regulated precise. And with just a touch of a button, I can change it to regulated cruise. Regulated cruise is just the needle is going to consistently move up and down as you're quilting. Regulated cruise is nice for when you're making stipples, you want nice curves. Gives you those extra stitches when you're in those curves. Now, you can notice that my curves aren't really as curvy as they should. That's because I have the belt on for the automation. But it makes a really nice stitch. Okay, now I'm going to change it. And you get a base mode, which several machines don't even give you. And then also manual mode. I love manual mode as well. So you just turn your speed up just a little bit because it's a little faster machine. And manual mode is just a little different feel. So now I'm not in stitch regulation, but you'll notice that the faster I move it, the bigger my stitches are going to be. So I'm in charge of regulating my movement so my stitches look at least consistent in manual mode.
So 4 stitch modes, 2 regulated, 1 base, 1 manual. Right? Very simple. And the handlebars. So we cannot stress enough. You keep talking about how raised the buttons are, easy, so textile, so you can feel kind of what you're doing. On the handlebars, we made it to where you can actually switch the button feature. So if you're right-handed, left-handed, we built into the machine, and it's a simple feature, so it's not one that really goes, bang for. But if you are left-handed, you can actually move the start-stop to your left side.
To this side.
And while your needle down's on the right side. And if you're right-handed, you can have your start-stop on the right side. So you can interchange those buttons where you like them. The handles, as you're moving right now, they are adjustable. So micro stippling, quilting and comfort, you can move the handles up and down.
Also, this is a long throat, so these handles will actually allow you to pull it closer to you so you can adjust them.
So these are wonderful features, and I would love let's get Nathan's comments on a couple of things as well. So let's bring Nathan in.
Wonderful. Thanks, Mark. I thought maybe what we could do here just really quick, because Carla, this is an exciting machine. I know that it took us quite some time. Carla was very pretty emphatic about making sure that this machine was a champion on behalf of Grace Company, that it stitched amazingly well, that it felt great in the hands, that it had those features that we think and we know that most quilters want. I know what I'd like to do is just get into a minute and show them a couple things on the automation, which is one of those other fun things that it comes with. But before I did that, I just wanted to bring up on the screen here really quick with all of us. I thought I would just go through some of those things that Mark and Carla talked about. We did see those on the camera, but I really thought it might be good to look at a couple of these. We have some really great images on the website, and I would encourage you, if you haven't already, go to graceframe.com, and underneath machines, you'll find the 19. So they talked about that full color touchscreen. It was hard to get a little bit of a close up, but that touchscreen makes it easy to engage with it, to select your options, to select your mode. And also because of that, there are other functions like what we call a preset. So you might have a preferred stitch for a certain type of quilting you like to do, and you can actually just select that piece when you're prepared to do so. We talk about the stitch quality. This machine stitches at 2,000 stitches a minute, which is a wonderful speed for both beginners and those that get into doing more professional quilting. By the way, I don't know if you'll notice, Carla today did an earlier story with her trunk show that she did. And by the way, this is one of the quilts that Carla did. She free motioned this entire quilt. So beautiful picture of that with the machine just over the top of it. They also just covered that it has micro handles and that the handles can be completely adjusted down to bring them closer to the surface. So quick, easy access to just that. They're expandable so that if you by chance are working at the back of your frame, you don't have to lean over. So that's a key thing to look at. So you're not working and having to strain your back as you're working towards the back of your frame. So they're adjustable, expandable, and then the screen can lock in place too. If you're a taller person or a shorter person, depending on where you have that, you can put that screen perfectly in front of you as well. So I thought that those would be a couple things maybe, Carl, that we could just point out that you had gone through and send people to the website with what that is. What I'd like to do is let's come back and now have you, Carla, talk about the automated piece that we have on there. And I thought maybe you can just quickly show our group how easy it is to just simply take a pattern and then quilt a pattern. And I know this might be a little bit more difficult with part of what we're going to do with the cameras, but if you can kind of stay with us, Carla's going to choose a pattern and she's going to show you how easy it is to select a pattern, put it on a quilt. And then Carla, maybe when we're done, just how easy it is to just line out what we're calling an edge to edge pattern in order for somebody to quilt across the top. Now we do have a generic piece of fabric so that she can kind of place this for us to see as she's demonstrating this, but I just want everybody to watch and see how simple this really is. And then I'll maybe bring up on the screen on the side a couple things too that might show some of the steps that she's going through in the meantime. But Carla, thank you for your efforts. Why don't you go ahead and walk us through some of this?
All right, so it's easy as you get a library of different designs, and it's as easy as picking one that you like, and you can scroll through them. And I'm just going to pick one, this one right there, and you see the blue boxes around it. That means that it has been selected. Now I'm going to tap open down here at the bottom, and it's going to move that design onto my screen here. And I have already set my area, my quilting area, so I'm just going to move my machine up here, and I'm going to tap on one of these little nodes. They're called placement nodes. And as I tap on it, just notice what happens is that it turns green. That means that that position has been selected. So I'm just going to move it over across here. And I've chosen one of the placement methods. It's 4-point. So notice how it's moved in. I'm just going to bring it down. Tap on this bottom one. Notice how it's squishing it up. And I probably would have chosen block, but you can replace it so you get it just right, how you want it. And then I'm going to come back over here. Come back in. It's okay. It's not perfect, but it's okay for sewing. So now we're ready to quilt. And you tap on quilt and it's connecting. And now it's going to start and stop in the middle. I'm going to tap on sew, or you can pull bobbin, but I'm just going to give me enough tail here that I can pull the bobbin. And I'm going to tap on sew here. And I'm making sure my needle's up because you don't want it in a down position. And it's going to move to my start point right here. And you're going to see it do its stitch off. And once it starts to stitch off, then I can cut my threads and just allow it to finish the quilt block.
So maybe here while that's going, I thought I would just kind of jump in and we're going to come and do a close-up here of that finished pattern, but I thought I would just go ahead and show everybody here really quick. So you can see Carla simply selected a pattern, and this is the process. You select a pattern, you simply can go tell it where you want that pattern to go. So you simply place the pattern. And then once you place the pattern, she went and hit the sew button, which then will just automatically have that machine move along. So if you look at that machine moving there, it's moving along automatically on its own. And so I do like to really talk about that. It's just as simple as that. Like literally you select, you place, and you sew. And I love really pointing that out for all of our customers, how easy that is. I'm quickly going to scroll up a little bit more as this is working through it, just to highlight a couple of the other parts that she was briefly talking about. So again, there's power and precision in how that pattern is placed. Not only power and precision, but it's incredibly accurate. So that's really an important part when you're wanting to make sure those patterns fall into their exact edges. Next, we're going to look at part of that edge-to-edge pattern design. So how is it that a consumer can simply select a pattern and then have that work through edge to edge? Obviously, one of these next things here, which is a great thing too, is part of the help that's part of the system. So with that, we're going to go back here to Carla and Mark. And again, thank you, Carla. Maybe I'm not sure how much of a close-up or what we can get on that. Maybe if we can kind of move to the side a little bit here.
But it's exactly as I placed it.
Great, that's wonderful. So pretty simple again, Carla. You just simply select the pattern, you then place the pattern, we then quilted the pattern. With that, maybe we can just walk through a quick demonstration again of if they wanted to do an edge to edge, what something like that might do for them.
Okay, for edge to edge, instead of picking a block design, you want to go back here to your home screen and you'll pick pantograph, which allows you to make a continuous line with your automation. So we're just going to open that up, and it gives you different modes that you can pick. You get Power Panto, which is the easiest way to quilt an edge-to-edge quilt. Easy, basic, and then advanced. So I'm just going to tap on Power Panto because it's going to take all the measurements for me. But because I'd set my safe area to be 25 and 16, I don't want to go any wider than that. It won't let me, actually. So I'm just going to say I want to quilt a 24 by 24 inch quilt. And I'm going to select my design. And rather than a block design, I'm going to come across here at the top. You have different types of designs that are in your library that come pre-installed with the system. So you have block, which we already have used, continuous line, triangles, and border sets. I'm going to go into my continuous line. And I'm going to just pick one of these real simple ones. This curl circle, and it's going to fill it in. Now I can adjust it and make the design of the pattern height smaller, or I can make it larger and fill it in. And it's as easy as that. And then rather than place as a single design, I'm just going to sew in zones, and you're ready to quilt.
Carla, really quick again, you clicked the do the panto, right? So I have a picture I'm going to bring up on screen so those that might be joining us can kind of see this. So she simply selected the option for doing it as a pantograph, and then what she did is she was able to choose a pattern that she wanted to have fill that area. So you saw, oh, here's how big my quilt is. My quilt is, you know, however big it is. And if this was a king size quilt, you could do 110 by 120, whatever you wanted to do. So then you can choose the size of your quilt, and automatically will populate and fill that. And then you can move to your quilt then, and then simply tell it where the top of your quilt is. And I think it begins sewing, correct? Maybe share with us what happens once they're ready to go ahead and place this on their fabric then.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to tap on sew in zones or place as a single design? You tell me.
I think that we're going to just do it in zones so we can sew one across the top for everybody.
Okay.
So maybe I'll talk through the system right now is calculating how many patterns
They can do within the space of the machine's
which is awesome.
And then it's asking to save it, and we're not going to save it, but you would want to save your designs.
There it is. Now, I love this too. Those who don't know about computer automation, one of the things that we really strive to do is we really strive to simplify part of the customer's experience by doing more of the process if we can, which requires less view. We found that professionals and consumers actually want the same thing. We want to spend a little less time getting it set up and a little more time quilting it. And our goal has been able to do so. So on the screen, it's not necessarily easy to see, but it actually has combined the entire section that can fit inside of the throat of that machine. And it has joined them, and it's ready for her to go ahead and place it and quilt. So Carla, I know maybe what we'll do is you can go ahead and position that. Usually you'll use the center of your quilt. So position it. Now, right now, we're not going to go all the way across, but we'll have her get started with that for just a minute to kind of watch this as it starts doing its process to quilt this out for us.
I just had to figure out where my quilting area was because I didn't set the whole quilt from side to side. So anyway, now I've placed it, and now I've tapped on this one. That's my positioning, my placement button, and now I am ready to sew. So I'm just going to tap on sew, and it's going to quilt over my designing, but we don't care. It's just going to show you. Sorry, Mark, I'm coming over.
You can come on over.
With that, as it gets ready to
So
go,
maybe
maybe
one thing I'll do here, you'll just kind of get this as a start.
and then I'm going to bring up my screen one more time just to show people a couple other details on the website in the meantime with what this is going to be going.
There you go. Now I'm going to go back across, Courtney. There you go. And you stand back. Don't touch your frame.
Maybe I'll quickly just add and talk with a few of you here in the background as this is going on. You can see that the system right now is currently sewing across, completing part of the pattern as she moves across the edge on that. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the screen here so that you guys can see. I would recommend, if you have a chance when you get a minute for browsing, come back to Grace Frame's website. Go ahead and go into it. We have some videos that show you a few more details on the system as a whole. And as just a quick heads up, if you by chance are in the market, automation is on sale right now. So it's on sale for 25% off its normal price. And so we would encourage you, if you've ever thought about adding automation to your system, now is a great time in order to add the automated system to your unit as well. So I thought that would be something good for everybody to see what that is and how that works and how that actually is utilized with your quilting system. One other thing I'll use here quickly as this is finishing its quilting process is some people like to ask the question, there are selected domestic machines you can add the automation to. So I'd say call for compatibility. Look and find our website for our dealer locator, and you can find a dealer near you to contact as well. The other thing is this same automation unit, if you start with your domestic machine, also is the exact same one that runs on the 15-inch machines. You're seeing it in play right now on the 19-inch machine. It also works on the 21 and on the 21 Pro. So it is cross-compatible with so many of the other systems and machines out there.